Hey everyone, welcome to Gabby's Deep Dive, where we take real issues happening in our world and look beneath the surface. I'm Gabby, and today we're diving into how media can shape the way we see crime, safety, and even our community through something called cultivation theory. And we'll connect it to what's actually happening here in Shreveport, Louisiana, a city that's seeing some big shifts in its crime trends. So let's start with the basics. Cultivation theory was developed by George Gerbner, a communication scholar who studied how long-term exposure to television influences our view of reality. His main idea was simple but powerful. The more time people spend watching media filled with violence and fear, the more likely they are to believe that the real world is just as dangerous. He called this the mean world syndrome, a mindset where people think danger is everywhere even when the data shows otherwise. Now think about today's culture. We are obsessed with crime. We binge watch shows like Criminal Minds, Law and Order, Dahmer, and You. We stream true crime documentaries late into the night and listen to podcasts like Crime Junkie or Serial while driving to work or class. And I get it, they're gripping, emotional, and sometimes even educational. But cultivation theory says that when we constantly expose ourselves to violent content, our sense of reality starts to shift. Even if we know it's entertainment, our brains still internalize what we see. So we start to believe that danger lurks everywhere. We get more anxious while walking to our car at night or more suspicious of people around us, even if statistically we're living in one of the safer periods in decades. That brings us here to Shreveport. According to recent data from the Shreveport Police Department, the city is actually seeing a significant decline in overall crime through 2024 and into 2025. Violent crimes, especially homicides and shootings, have gone down compared to the past few years. That's a big win for the community and for local law enforcement efforts. But even with that progress, not every statistic tells the same story. Some crimes, particularly domestic violence, are rising sharply. As the end of September 2024, there were 1,964 calls to the Shreveport Police Department related to domestic violence. By the same point in 2025, that number climbed to 2,167, a 10.3% increase. Police Chief Wayne Smith spoke about the rise, saying, "It was no surprise to me that every neighborhood, every part of our community is affected by domestic violence. The increase of domestic violence has been a great concern to me." That statement hits hard. It shows that while gun violence and homicides might be decreasing, other serious issues, like violence in homes, continue to grow. Now, here's where cultivation theory ties it all together. Even though overall crime is declining, the stories that grab our attention, both in the media and online, are usually the violent ones. When we see headlines after headline of a shooting, domestic dispute, or a tragic crime, it reinforces that the feeling that Shreveport is unsafe, even when the data says otherwise. It's not that those stories shouldn't be told. They absolutely should. But when that's all we see, it creates a distorted picture of reality. And when you add that to our nonstop diet of true crime TV shows and podcasts, it's like living in a constant loop of fear-based storytelling. We end up feeling like the world, or, in this case, our city, is spiraling out of control, even during times when things are statistically improving. That's mean world syndrome in real life. People may start to avoid certain neighborhoods, lose trust in others, or assume crime is everywhere, when in truth, there's often more progress than we realize. And that disconnect between what we see and what's real, that's exactly what Gerbner was talking about. But here's the thing, media isn't the enemy. Crime reporting and true crime storytelling can both serve important roles. They can raise awareness, bring justice to victims, and even push for change. The problem is when fear becomes the focus, hope gets left out. In Shreveport, yes, domestic violence is increasing and that's a real concern, but violent crimes overall is decreasing. That's something to recognize and talk about too. When media focuses on only the negative, people lose perspective. But when it shows both the challenges and the improvements, the full picture, that's when storytelling becomes powerful. Cultivation theory teaches us to question what we consume, to ask, is this reality, or is this just a version of reality I'm being shown? If we can keep that question in mind, whether we're watching a Netflix crime drama or reading local headlines, we can stay more balanced, more aware, and less afraid. Chief Wayne Smith is right. Every neighborhood is touched by domestic violence in some way, but knowing that also gives us the chance to respond, to educate, and to support one another. And that's what real media literacy and real community awareness looks like. So the next time you find yourself deep into a crime show or scrolling through headlines about local violence, take a breath and remember, not everything you see represents the full truth. Because perception shapes reality, and the way we understand our world depends on what we choose to believe. Thanks for tuning into Gabby's Deep Dive. I'm Gabby, and I'll see you next time. We'll keep looking beyond the surface, one story at a time.